Like, hey, I'm Karen Wiener at The New Wheel, host of the e-bike, the biggest, baddest e-bike show on YouTube. Yo, Shaka dude, hey bros out there, it's Karen Wiener from The New Wheel. Hi, I'm Karen Wiener from The New Wheel in Larkspur and San Francisco, and I'm joined by Matt. Matt, hey.
Hi.
Look, we're sitting here with Specialized Levo SL.
Turbo Levo SL.
This looks slick.
It is an amazing bike. One of the best mountain bikes I've ridden in a long time.
I would absolutely consider you our in-house mountain bike geek, appreciator, enjoyer, expert. Do you think that's accurate?
That's accurate, and it's nice of you to say.
So Matt is our mechanic in Larkspur and has been for a long time, and he came to us from a really focused mountain bike shop and has become an e-biker. You've been riding it. What's the experience?
Absolutely just blown away by how well this bike performs. I forgot it was an e-bike many times. I don't know, I'm almost like, how do you talk about this bike?
He's lost for words. Okay,
Yeah.
A wrap. Can't do the video anymore.
You do the pickup test that everyone does, and they're like, ooh, the pickup test, that defines a good bike. And typically with e-mtbs, you're looking at, you pick it up and you're like, ooh, here we go. We're gonna have to see how this thing handles, to make up for that weight. You pick up this bike and it feels like a mountain bike that does not have a battery and motor in it. And then you get on it, and then it becomes one of the most finely tuned mountain bikes I've ridden in a while. It's nimble, it's fast, it's really light. And I'm gonna probably say really light a lot because it's just, that's the first impression of it, is just to get something like this in that light of a package with that kind of performance. I think something very special.
I know Specialized's kind of linkage design is well known and really well liked. Tell me more about that.
Sure, yeah, I mean, it's a 4-bar suspension, which is a design they've used since the beginning. What it is you have a really, almost a straight up and down wheel path. So when you're going over something, it doesn't arc over, it has a really progressive, consistent feel as it goes through the travel. And why that's important is that when you're pedaling, you don't feel the suspension actuating on some other designs. When you're braking, you don't notice the braking kind of actuating the suspension for you. So it's kind of a longer conversation, but essentially what it does is it isolates the suspension movement from the rider input and the wheel input.
The way I understand it is, it's basically, instead of being a triangle, they've made it into a trapezoid. So it moves like a square, a trapezoid, instead of wonky like a triangle.
Right, exactly. Most suspension designs you'll see, the most popular one is like a single pivot design, and exactly you have like this swinging arc. There's certain places where that's a really good suspension design. When you start to get into the higher performance realm of mountain bikes, that's when you see multi-linkage bikes and where the magic of it starts to happen. When you're really just hammering down the trail and you're just hitting a bunch of bumps and you just see that little kicker jump thing, and like you push the bike into the ground, and it'll kind of give you like a little bit of a boost almost. So like if you need to use the suspension as well, it's really good at that. So it makes it playful on the trail.
Specialized takes everything that they know about building a lightweight bike and then applies a lightweight motor and battery setup. What did you learn spending time on this bike?
I have the privilege of having ridden the Stumpjumper, which is sort of a lot of DNA of that bike is in this bike. Kind of like, I guess I can't stress enough that like the motor and battery on this bike, like you don't know it's there. Kind of like compartmentalized the e-bike part pretty quickly and said, I just turn it on and go.
So why would somebody want an e-bike versus a traditional Stumpjumper?
Oh, because you can do your traditional loop that normally takes you 2 hours in an hour. You can get up to the trail, you can do 2 if you want, right? You've been like, maybe drinking the night before, and eat a big old burrito right before the bottom of the hill, and then you're like, that was a lot of bad choices. And then suddenly you're like, you put it in turbo, you say, I'm gonna go climb 3,000 feet, and you just go do it, and makes up for a lot of mistakes.
A lot of latitude for a lot of questionable choices.
Exactly, yeah. At the end of the day, it's like, would I want to have this bike in my garage next to my, nicer mountain bikes that I spend a lot of time on? It's absolutely. I mean, there would be like a no-brainer for me this would be the next bike I would buy.
Yeah. Brett came home and he was like, okay, I think we should get a trailer for Ida and 2 mountain bikes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's just the magic of this, the design of this bike and the way that Specialized handles. It's a really special handling bike.
So, I mean, you're the tech guy. You know all the details.
Okay, yeah.
I'm looking at this bike. Walk me through the things that I don't see but should know and why they matter.
Absolutely. I say a lot. Is that going to be a problem?
No, I cut them a lot.
Oh, wow. Sweet. Okay. I mean, I always start at the bottom bracket height, right? So mountain bikes, notorious bottom bracket height is probably the first measurement that most mountain bikers care about. And that's why when you're talking about suspension design, bottom bracket drop is an issue because you do need that clearance for getting through rocks and roots, and it's not too high, but not too low.
Okay.
So that's what's great about that motor being so light, that you won't notice the bottom bracket being up high like that. So you don't have to lower it down in order to compensate for that motor weight. And then you go back, to the chainstay length, which with this motor system and this design, suspension design and the frame design, is pretty much a standard mountain bike rear triangle length. It's not exactly close to the Stumpjumper, but it's a hair, So that's going to be, even with these bigger wheels, make the bike feel really nimble. So, some people say, oh, it only comes in 29. It's not for me because I like smaller wheels and I need to be able to be maneuverable. I personally didn't notice that. With 29ers with longer chainstays, you do notice that sometimes. This bike is pretty dense. If you look at the wheelbase and the kind of just the overall design of it, like it's pretty compact on the trail. And I think you really notice it when you do get it in the twisty turns, that it likes to lean over, and it's again, when you add that playful nature of the design itself, it just handles great. Then you notice the gearing, it looks like one giant cog back there.
Gears for days back there?
Gears for days, yeah. It's a 12-speed Eagle, which is 500% gear difference. So that's 500% change from the 10 to the upper cog. They have to make the rear triangle hub width is really wide, so you can get that nice strong wheel dishing, and then you can get 12 speeds back there, which is another thing you told my 15-year-old self. You have 12 gears in the back, I'd looked at you like, crazy, yeah.
Mission Control, which is this app, allows you to do all sorts of things. Like you can link it up with Strava, there's like heart rate stuff. It's really kind of cool because, if your goals are to get into shape or to use more energy yourself or whatever, you can set that in the app. It's pretty awesome.
So one cool thing about this, you can hook your phone up to the bike, start a ride based off of different criteria. You can set your heart rate. So like, it's called zone training, I think. And you say, I want to be at 160 BPM my whole ride. And so you just
Don't you die after that?
I probably would. Yeah, it might be bad. So. But anyway, you can. So you can set your heart rate, and then it'll just trickle in, trickle out power to keep your heart rate at that point. And then you can also you can customize your ride. So you can do, I want to go out for 2 hours, and I want to climb 3,000 feet, and I want 30% battery left at the end of the ride.
So you can get sort of as nerdy on the E side as you want.
Oh my God, yeah. So you can just turn it on and go, which is probably my preferred method. If I want to go faster, I just push it a little faster up here. There's a control right here. Or you can tune the levels of assist. There's 3 different assist levels. So you have peak power and support. Peak power is how much power the motor is giving you at your hardest push, so to speak. And the support is the kind of the smoothness of that power. So you can slide it to 0% or 100%, so you can go crazy. It's kind of exciting time for Specialized to have that powerful technology in all their bikes.
So there's another little hidden feature on this bike that I really like. Unfortunately, it's called the SWOT Tool, which is super bro-y, but in real life it's actually adorable and useful, so it's okay that it's a little bro-y. You just turn the little hidden door, flip the little secret door, and bam, you've got yourself a multi-tool. Fix any problem. I think that's very cool.
Very cool. There's also cool hidden. You want to talk about super hidden, and not every bike, but some bikes, this whole thing comes out and becomes a chain breaker with extra links and everything.
Really?
Yeah.
The last thing that I think is just good to know is that there's actually an attachable speedometer, which is wireless, easy to take on and off. And so if you're concerned or would like to know how fast you're going on a sort of brass tacks level, you just stick it on there.
Yeah, it's wireless, so you can buy specialized as an option. You can also, since it's Ant Plus Bluetooth, you can hook up your Garmin. You can get a phone holder and use Mission Control app, and that'll give you wattage, customizable screens, and a nice big display. So if you want a display on your bike, you can have one, and it's wireless. It's one less wire coming off the handlebars.
Yeah.
Makes it really clean.
They've created just like a really beautiful, fun, multi-dimensional bike. And it's really exciting.
Yeah, it's a 7-layered bean dip burrito, right? It's
oh my gosh, delicious, with a beer.
Yeah, with a beer, yeah.
Who should try it?
I think the person who I totally imagine this bike for is someone who's my age, you know, in their middle 40s, has mountain biked for a long period of time, maybe doesn't do it as much because they have job obligations or family obligations, but want to get back into it, and then they only have a limited amount of time where they can ride. And they want something light.
Yeah.
They just know, they just know their old school thinking is like, a good bike is a light bike. And now a good bike is a light bike with an e-bike.
Yeah. So come in for a test ride. That's what we do the best at the New Wheel. We have stores in Larkspur and San Francisco, and in Larkspur, you'll see the Levo, you'll see Matt. He can answer your questions. He's unedited in real life, so you can know that he actually knows his stuff, and we didn't just edit all the stuff he didn't know out. And you'll really enjoy trying the bike.
It'll change your life.